Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of my basic lure making video series. Today we'll be looking into how you can make your hardwood masters for either a soft bait or a jerkbait. It might not be rocket science making such a master, but still there's a few tips and tricks along the way that can help you obtain an even better result. In this movie I'll be taking you through making two different masters. One that is a jerkbait and another one that's a soft bait. The approach for these two are more or less the same, but there's a few minor differences that I'll try to emphasize in this movie. Actually, making a jerkbait master doesn't differ much from making a wooden jerkbait, so if you have those thoughts, you might hang in here as well. As material for the masters, I'll be using this, which is beech tabletop from an old kitchen I tore down a few years back. Beech is very nice to work with because it doesn't have any big veins that will make it very uneven to shape. So I'll just be using this. As making the lures will be a rather messy affair, I'll just go out to the shed to do that. Okay, we are now out here in the shed, and I've just made a few preparations before I get going here. First of all, I've made this this little block of wood with a pencil on it, and this one will help me draw lines on my wood here, which will always be in the center of the wood. This way I will always know where the center of the lure is when I'm making it. So I can always use this one again and again. Apart from that, I've been cutting out the two masters. I copied an extra copy of the drawing and just cut it out with a scissor. So these ones are also ready. I've made such two guides here. I'll be showing you later what they be used for, but they will help me keep the jigsaw in the right angle when I'm cutting the wood. Okay, I think we'll be starting with the jerkbait. So first of all, I grab my piece of wood, make sure that there's no holes or anything that will ruin your master, and then I'll just align this one up with the two guides here. Like that. Okay, I'll just take my master here and transfer it to the piece of wood. You could also just glue the template onto the wood, but then you wouldn't be able to use it again. I'm not sure I will anyway, but I'll just transfer this one with a pencil. Unfortunately I only have this one, so I'll just be using my block here. The way that these two guides will help me is that I can, no matter what I cut out of the piece of wood for the master, these will always help me align the jigsaw so I have a 90-degree cutting angle. So, well, I guess it's just a question of starting here. I just put on some safety gear here, some glasses, and then of course it'll be a bit noisy, but well, not much I can do about that. Well, as you can see, I didn't cut the bait all the way around. I would like to keep this part sitting on the master as long as possible. This one will help me know exactly what's the center and what's this up and down all through the process. And then in the end, I can easily cut it off and just sand those that little part of the tail that is within the block here. Okay, and that was the jerkbait. As you can see, I left a little space around it. I would rather shape it with my rasp than shaping it all the way with the jigsaw. So there's a bit of space, a bit of wood that needs to be removed before it fits the drawing exactly. Okay, and I'll just get on to the soft bait. So the same approach. For this one, I won't. I will stay on this side of the tail. The paddle I will make after I cut it off. Okay, and that was this part of the soft bait. As you can see, fits quite fine. Okay, and I'll now just be using my pen here, because especially with the soft bait here, I will need to know the center line of the lure, as it will be a bit thinner than the block of wood is by now. So I'll just transfer my center line. Actually, I'll do the same with the jerkbait here. The next step would be to transfer this one to the lure. So I'll just start by putting it back in the vise here, and this time I put it upright. Okay, and I can use the center line to position the template here. As it's now curved a bit, the distance from head to tail will be a little longer, so I'll try to compensate a bit for that. But well, I think in the end it doesn't really matter that much if you're a millimeter off. The important part is to be along the center line. So I'll just transfer the master here, the template here to the master. Okay, so you can see the master is now transferred here. Okay, and then once again I'll just grab the jigsaw and cut out on this angle. And once again I have my guides, so I'll just okay, and well, as you can see, it already starts looking a lot more like a shad here. Okay, and I'll just do the same with the jerkbait, although there isn't very much that needs to be removed on that one, as it's much wider than and almost at some point as wide as a piece of wood here, but still I like to move a little bit away, because it's much easier with the jigsaw than it is with the raspberry later on. Okay, well, that was all for the jigsaw. Now there's only one thing to do. That is grab your rasp and just go crazy on this one. Before I start any real shaping of the master, I will just even out some of the cuts from the saw, so I have a more accurate starting point here. So I'll just grab my rasp here and start filing away until I'm satisfied that everything is at a good starting point. Okay, now that one is fairly even. Okay, now the two masters are a bit more even, and I'll just grab the pen again and make sure that I have the center line. As some of them is getting thinner, I will just push down on the block here at the end. It might lift up the master a bit, but that is what it's supposed to. As you can see from the places where there is some previous marks, you can still see the center line there, and the same here. It's now time to start shaping the master, and besides just using your eyes and being careful, there's a few ways you can help making the master alike on both sides, and one of them I'll be showing you here. I'll just paint this one black with my airbrush, not because it's needed, but because it makes it more visible for you to see how I work along. So I'll just do that, and then we can progress with this one. Now the master is all black, and it's more easy for you to see what I'm filing off. First of all, I'll be filing off in a 45-degree angle, as I want the back to be more or less a fully round circle here. So I'll just file off. Down here where it's thin, I will have a thin stripe, and up here where it's broad, it will also be a broad stripe. Now I've done this one side, and I'll just do exactly the same on the other side, making sure that the file off is the same the width as on the other side. So I'll just okay. Now I'm satisfied that the width of the two sides here, the pieces I filed off, is the same. So I'll just give it some more black so you can see the next step. So ready for the next step, and for this step I would like to go down halfway down to the previous cut at a half the angle. So I'll just start filing again. Okay, and then the same on the other side of the half here. So I'll just and then to finish it off, I'll take those edges in between, the edge here between the black and the light, the part where the two file offs we just made meet, and the part below that one. Okay, and as you can see, it's more or less round now. I think I'll be taking off a little more. For this one, I actually wanted it to be a bit thinner, so I think I'll a bit more narrow. So I'll just take off a little on the side and then redo the top part if how much it's needed. So I'll just okay, before you get much further and closer to what you want your result to be, you have to consider a few things. If you want to have features on your master, like fins and stuff like that, gills and so on, you should consider how that would where they would be positioned, and start shaping those as well. You could also have another approach, that you'll just make the base body itself, and then afterwards with some plastic padding or something like that, you would create the fins on the master. I think I'll just make a smooth master to start, and for the soft bait here, and then afterwards I would add anything that I might figure out to add. But first of all, I'll just keep shaping this one and see where it gets me. Well, once you get started filing away, it's very easy to get carried away a bit. Once in a while, you should remember to stop and just grab your liner here to draw the center line, to make sure that you don't get too much filed off for one side, like I did a bit here. So, well, then you can just carry on. Well, as it often goes in matters like this, the master didn't turn out exactly like I imagined once I've filed it down according to the sketch. So I've been making it a bit more narrow, and I think I'm just about at the point where I'm done filing with the rasp on the body anyway. Looking more and more like a shad now. I will just be doing a bit of work here down at the tail, on the part of the tail that is upwards towards the shad itself. The other part I can just cut off, and more or less hopefully it will be just like I wanted to. But I need to make a flat paddle here, so I'll just start making that according to, I think I'll take a saw first to do a little bit of evening out here. Okay, now I have a few lines to work from with the file here. So I'll just put it in a position here where I can file it down to that. Yes, not that bad. Now the shad is at a point where I need to start using sandpaper, so I'll just switch over to the jerkbait. The progress of this one will be more or less the same as with the shad, with one little difference. I will have a few more details on this one, as I will try to make some gill plates for it. The fins I will add later, so those I won't make, but I will add the gill plate already here in the master. So that's the difference in that one. But the approach to start with is more or less the same. So I'll just get on with the filing, and then we'll see later on how to make those gill plates. Okay. Okay, I've been rounded off some of the edges on the jerkbait here, but now before I go any further, I have to know where the gill plate will be. So I'll just figure out a way to transferring that to the bait. And first of all, I'll just cut along the side of the gill plate here with a scissor. And then just by placing it here on the bait and flipping up the back part here, I can transfer the gill plate's position to the master here, like that. Just making it more visible. And then the same on the other side. Okay, and then I can just continue shaping, making sure that the gill plate will come out right. Well, I'm now more or less finished with the rough shaping of the jerkbait master with the rasp, and the next step will be using the sanding paper. That will make it a lot more smooth, and I will be better able to see if there's any indifferences between the two sides. So that will be nice. Okay. Let's get going with the sanding paper. As always, when working with the sandpaper, you start with the very coarse sandpaper and move down to finer and finer grades. So this, I think, is a grade 40, and that is very rough, almost like the rasp. And then we'll be moving down to grade 240 along the way. Once I start to get a more smooth and even surface, I might be able to see some imperfections along the body, and grab the rasp again and just remove some material and then get back to the sanding paper. But so far it looks quite fine, so I don't know how much that will be. Okay, I've made some stripes here of sanding paper with a cloth background. I'm not sure what that is called in English, but still, by doing that, I can easily make round curves, as I can bend it around the lure here and the master, and just pull from each side like a saw. You can see here already after a few strokes the very coarse sandpaper here is simply too rough. I'll just get down a grade. Well, as I still have the center line marked here, I can see that one side seems a lot thicker than the other one. So I'll just see if I can remove a bit of that. Another thing you can do to get it even, to get a better visual on what is right and wrong, is beside making the center line along the lure here. Also, you can make stripes here on the side, showing that will make it more easy for you to see when you hold it in different positions if the lure is alike. Now I'm all the way down to grade 240, and this is more or less polishing of the woods. I can see a few scratch marks from the rasp here that I might either use some spackle on, or just try to remove completely with sanding paper. I don't know yet, but okay. Now I'll also try to work a bit on the base of the paddle here. Well, it's now time to cut off the block that has served as as a guide and a holding point throughout the process here. So I'll just cut that off, leaving the paddle there to be shaved afterwards. And I don't want to leave too much because it's very hard to work on this angle on the vanes. So I don't want to cut it off too much. On the other hand, don't want to cut off too little to have to use a lot of spatula or anything. So spackle. So let's just okay. Now it really looks like a shad. Well, the part left is to do a little shaping and sanding of the paddle here. Well, I think I'll make some sort of a template before I start shaping too much here, so I know what I'm going to aim for. So I'll just leave that for a little later and get on with the jerkbait. So I'll leave that one here. Once again, coarse sandpaper, sand away. Making sure that I don't even out the gills or anything, so I need to do it in steps for each area of the jerkbait here. And it is a bit more difficult here with the I want a belly shape on the jerkbait, and I want some gill plates, and so it's a bit more difficult to use the long stripes here and strips and just grind away. So I have to be a little more careful not to even out those areas. So you got to keep in mind that still with the sanding paper you're shaping the lure, so you have to take care, and you can avoid different angles in order to make it more square at the bottom or round, or after mattering on what you are aiming for here. So I'll just work a bit different on that one. Okay, I think even the jerkbait now is more or less finished, looking quite fine, I think. Before I cut it off and finish off the end here, I would like to while I still have the block here at the end, I would like to make room for the eyes and eye sockets. Those will be first I will drill out the socket for the eye, and after that I will, with some spackle or something like that, I'll build up the eyelid according to my plan here. To position the eye, I've punched a little hole in my template here where the center of the eye should be. I'll just place my template on top of my master here, fitting as nicely as possible. Isn't that much off actually my result here, and then I'll just paint a dot through the template. This should be the center of the eye socket. Okay, and before you go ahead and drill a hole for the eye socket, you might want to consider what size of eyes you want to use. And I only have some 8mm, which I doubt will be big enough, and I have a 12mm. I'm afraid that 10mm probably would be the best, but don't have those lying around. I think the 8mm is way too small. maybe the 12 millimeter is a bit large, but I actually think that will look quite great on this one. I only have a 10 millimeter drill, so I'll start by drilling that, and then I have to use my Dremel to adjust the size to 12 millimeters. So just positioning this one, and don't want to do this wrong. And now I'll just use a round tip here to smoothen out the edges around the socket a bit. Take some of the finer sandpaper here to adjust the. Okay, and as you can see, I plan to make a smiley mouth on my jerkbait here. So once again, I'll just take my template here and cut along the line of that mouth to be able to transfer it to the bait. And now I can just cut off the jerkbait or the master here, like that. Now that I no longer have the block to hold on to the master with, I have to set it in the vise directly to the body. So I've just attached something here to the jaws to avoid making too much damage to the master, and I also have a bit of a bicycle inner tube here, which I can use to hold on to the master with, so I don't make any marks. I don't set it too tight, just tight enough for me to grind all this down. And to shape the tail here, I still have the full width of the block from that we started with here in the end, so I can still mark the center line with my block here, and well, I'll just do it the other way as well. Not that it gives me any specific measurement, but I'll just use that to position a drop-shaped tail here on it. Leaving me a good idea of how much to grind off. And I'll just carefully with the rasp start removing the unwanted. Okay, and now I think this monster is done. I actually just missed the eyes, and I probably should have made that while still on the block here, but I simply forgot. So I'll have to do that now. As for this lure, I will actually paint on the eyes, so you could say that I didn't even need an eye socket, but it helps me position the eye when I'm painted. So so that's why it's nice, and it does give a good effect. And if I at some point decide to glue on 3D eyes, I will also have a nice positioning of them. So I've just added the socket anyway. The masters are now more or less finished, at least on the shaping. Before I can get any further with them, I have to give them some sort of coating. You could use some clear varnish for wood, or just some color paint. I think I'll just be painting them white, as that helps me see any mistakes anywhere that I might need a little bit of sparkle. But you can do it how you like. I'll give them a few layers, and then I will see if any sparkle is needed, and then if so, I'll do that, and then give them a few more layers of coat. And I'll just be using normal spray paint for this from a spray can that you can buy in your hardware store. So, okay, before I actually go and paint them, I will attach a few eyes. So I'll just need to figure out where the eyes should be positioned on the jerkbait here, and on the softbait I'll just place an eye at the end of it. It isn't really needed for the bait itself, so I'll remove it once I have to make the mold. But it's nice to have to hang it in as I paint it. I can already see here there's a few scratches here from the rasp that I might need to use some sparkle on, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I might just try a few more strokes with the sanding paper to see if I can remove those. Well, so just be making some eyes, and then we'll get on with that. Okay, I now made 3 eyes out of some copper wire. Copper wire isn't really a good solution if you are making lures. It will be way too soft and never hold. But for masters it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to use fish this one. I'm just going to use it for making resin lures. So I might as well use this. Normally I would use some wire that is 1 millimeter thick to bend some internal wires. And this is 1.3. This will leave me a little room for having a wire that is not bent exactly like the one on the master. So I'll just use these 3 ones, and as you can see, I marked out where I need the nose eyes, the belly eye, and the tail eye. And I'll just use a fine drill and drill those holes and glue it in with some 5-minute epoxy before I go ahead and paint it. On the other hand, the softbait master, I will just use a normal screw-in eye. Those are 2 millimeter thick and won't be very optimal for the bait using internal wire, but for this purpose it will be fine. So I'll just drill a hole in that one for the screw-in eyes. Okay. Once you get the masters colored in a single color, it gets very easy to see all small imperfections of the body, and you gotta consider that every time you make a master, no copy ever gets better than the master. So use some effort in making the best possible master, because once you made the mold, you'll be very sad if you left a lot of errors on mistakes and dents on those. So I think there's a bit of more polishing on that one. As you can see, the soft bait master here has a few scratches from the rasp that I need to cover. I think I'll give them a thin layer of sparkle to on the most critical parts, and then for the rest I'll just run it over again with the sanding paper. Now it's when it's more easy to see. That one isn't that big a issue. On the other one here, I also wanted to add a bit of eyebrow on the over the eye. It gives a very nice effect, and I will use spatula for that, a spatula for that as well. Also, I will add the fin as with the spackle, and to do that, I have made a few helpers here. First of all, I've made a helper to position and act as frame for the fin. So I can just hold this one here and apply the spackle, and then take it off, and hopefully leaving the fin there to dry. And here for the eyelid, I will position this one here and be able to build up the spackle along the edge of this one, so I have a nice eyebrow there. Well, I'll attempt to build up the eyelid and the fins now, and I'll be using this milliput, which is a putty, a two-part putty, epoxy-like thing, and you cut out two equally big pieces here. Like that, and then you just blend these two, just start working them into each other until you have a one-colored putty to work with. And this is what I'm going to use for the eyelid. So I'll place my little guide here like this, put up the putty along the edge of that. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit too big here, I can shape it afterwards. I actually ended up doing the sanding off camera here. There's a little bit back and forth, and especially here on the jerkbait, I had to work a little while the milliput was hardening, as it is a bit easier to shape it before it's fully hardened. But I think I'm more or less there where I can give them another coat of paint. As you can see, there's a lot of areas that has where the wood has surfaced through the paint again, and a few other details I have touched up further. But now I think, well, I think it's looking pretty good. I think with a few more coats of paint, this one will be finished. I also attached some eyes to make sure that the milliput for the eyes was fitted right. So that one is good, and the same thing with the shad here. As you can see, there's a few minor details that was visible before that is now gone, and I think with a layer of a few layers of paint, this one is very fine. Of course, when you do these things, always consider how you are going to use your master. This one I know will be painted and have a coat of soft plastic afterwards, and this will leave will cover all minor dents and details. So I don't think it will be a problem if there is a little scratch or something that is visible on the master. On the other hand, if you're going to make a master for a finished soft bait, you have to consider that if you want a shiny bait, your master should be shiny. The silicone you make the mold of will copy the exact shine of the lure. So if you want a shiny bait, make your master shiny. So that will require some paint and everything that will have a nice and shiny master. This one I will coat, so that one I can accept minor frauds. This one will be used as a master for a resin mold, and no matter how perfect I make the master, I will always have to just run it over with some very fine sanding paper before I paint it. So every cast needs a bit of sanding anyway, so I can accept small mistakes on that one as well. And in the end, it will be painted, it will be covered in epoxy. Again, most minor errors will be removed. Okay, so I'll just go outside and give them a few more coats of white, and then we'll have a look at the result. I actually ended up doing a few more rounds of spackle sandpaper and paint before I was fully satisfied with the masters. But I think if you take a look at the result, that you agree with me that they look quite fine, and I'm fairly certain that these baits will do well once I get them finished and take them to the brackish waters. If you followed this tutorial to make your own wooden masters and now are eager to know how to get on with your project, there's a lot of more help you can find in my YouTube channel in the movies there. With the shad, there's two ways you can go. If you want to make a prototype first, you can watch my movie about casting soft baits and casting sand, which will produce a usable prototype that can be tested before you go ahead and make the silicone mold. If you feel certain that your lure will work, you can go ahead and make the silicone mold right away. If you want to do that, you can watch my basic lure making movie about making a two-part silicone mold. That is the bait there featured there is a soft bait more or less like this one. With the jerkbait, you can follow the steps in the movie about the plastic jerk from about the point where the master is made. The progress from that point will be more or less what I will do with this one. And if you're just curious about how these two masters will end up as finished baits, along the way I will be making some video logs showing how I finish them, and hopefully I will be able to take them test fishing, showing that they actually work. That was all for this movie. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course subscribe to my channel. And if you like so, also visit my Facebook page to follow up on what's going on at the studios. Apart from that, there's only one thing left to say. I hope you see me soon.